Congratulations! You got a positive reply and your prospect booked a sales call. It's your first ever call. So now what? Should you put gel in your hair and make a presentation? Should you get a suit or rent an office? Well, not quite. There's only 3 things you need to do to have a sales call with a high success rate. And success meaning closing the prospect as your client. I'll talk about these 3 processes in depth, and at the end I'll even share 3 tips to make sales calls and signing clients as easy as possible. Now first, let me tell you what you definitely don't need. What you definitely don't need is a presentation that took a week to make, a tuxedo, and a professional setup. Just have a no background noise and look presentable. That's it. You can have a simple presentation or notes if it helps you, but most of the time all you need is no background noise and to look presentable. You're talking to a person that's most likely not a president. It will be better for both of you if you treat them like a regular human being, act normal, and have a regular conversation. Now, what do you say in the sales call itself? Let's be honest. If you come there with a mindset to sell, 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 and do nothing else, you'll fail. Your prospects get pitched a lot, and this isn't their first sales call. Don't follow scripts you found online. Just follow a simple 3-step framework that I call DSH framework. D stands for diagnose. Before you can sell anything, you have to diagnose the problems and desires of your prospect. Of course, you may know these things a little bit from doing outreach, but this is where you get more in depth. You have to diagnose a few things. First, you need to talk to them to determine if they're actually a good fit for your product. You need to find out quite a few things before you can move on to the next part of the sales call. Find out whether or not they'll find your product useful. Will you be able to reach their desired results? Is it in alignment with their current business strategy? Make sure they're a good fit for you. Make sure they will benefit from your services and that your services don't require resources they don't have. For example, hours of time to film content. And make sure, of course, they have the budget. Diagnosing problems and desires is simple. All you need to do is ask questions and dig deeper. Simply have a conversation. But while this is simple in theory, most people fail in practice because they forget one thing. You have to be human. This is a conversation, not an interrogation. So it has to flow like a conversation. If you come to a sales call and ask, "Where do you see yourself in 6 months?" or "What's your current bottleneck?" you just sound weird, my friend. These are the most salesy questions anyone could hear. That's what everyone asks, and you don't want to be like everyone. Remember, prospects you're selling to aren't kids. They have been on hundreds of sales calls, and they will see right through that what you're doing is just trying to sell. So be human and ask simple questions as if you're talking to your friend. Of course, this doesn't mean that you can be disrespectful, but just be human, relax, don't be too formal. And once you find out that they have the budget for your services, that you'll be able to deliver them great results, you have to find out a few more things. You want to know their exact pain points and exact desires. And when I say exact, I mean exact. Not making enough money is not specific enough. Dig deeper to find out why they can't increase their monthly recurring revenue by 10% month over month. Talk to them and dig deeper. Find out their goals and their biggest problem. Again, don't sound like a robot when you're doing this. You're not filling in a form. You want to have a human-to-human conversation. Make sure they feel heard and understood. Reassure them. Repeat their problems in your own words. This is the only way you'll find out what they're struggling with the most and what is the thing they want the most. And you need to know their pain points and desires exactly, because we'll leverage them for the next part of the DSH framework. Selling. We will now use all the information we gathered previously to sell our product. Take their problems and desires and position your product as a solution to their problems or a vehicle to reach their goals. For example, if they're struggling with client acquisition and would like to sign 5 new clients this month, tell them that your AI personalized emails will help them achieve that with little to no extra effort. If they have a goal of earning $10,000 a month, mention how your content marketing service is the perfect way to reach that goal. Of course, there's a rule you need to follow. Never lie. Never lie. If you don't think your product can solve their problems, or get them their desired results, don't pitch them your product. That's dishonest and straight up scammy. It might get you a sale or two, but the goal isn't that. Your goal is to build a sustainable, long-term business with great reputation. So be honest. That's why you qualify the client before pitching. If you don't think your prospect could benefit from your product, don't try to sell them anything. Don't try to sell something else or sell your product anyways. You'll just get terrible reviews, huge churn, and a lot of negative experiences. There's no need. So if you ever doubt it, just let your prospect go and be honest. Like always, this also has to be a normal conversation. If you're following a template, they'll know it right away. Be flexible, be natural. You don't want to look like you're selling anything. Your goal is to solve your prospect's problem and get them great results, because that is the only way you'll get paid. Your goal can't be to get paid or get a certain amount of money, because you literally have no control over it. Getting paid is a result of doing something, and right now that something is delivering great results. Delivery is the only action you have control over. So your goal should be delivering great results and solving a problem. Because if you do that, you'll get paid as a result of that action. Now, to make sure everything flows naturally, you shouldn't just do X and Y. Like, don't just repeat their pain points and add your solution. You're not getting any replies from cold email? Well, Salesforge personalized messages will solve that. No, that doesn't work. You make it natural by adding case studies, by adding cost of inaction, extra information from your side that turns a sales pitch into a conversation. Now it could sound like this. You mentioned that your reply rate is under 1%. I guess that keeps you below your desired goal of signing 5 new clients every month, right? Oh yeah, unfortunately, blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, that's not very good, man. I remember helping this guy from London. He was also struggling with low reply rate, terrible deliverability, and a few other things. I taught him how to use personalized AI emails, and his reply rate just skyrocketed. He was bringing in like $10,000 a week in opportunities with like 5% reply rate. And he did it with little to no effort because it's all AI written, you know? He didn't even need to change the leads. And how did you do that? Man, we just use Salesforge and here goes your pitch. In this instance, we are leveraging the curiosity of the prospect to have them ask us and essentially disguise the pitch as a simple answer. You could say the prospect almost pitched themselves. And because of that, this isn't as bad as listening to a dreading cold pitch that comes out of nowhere. Now, even if you do everything perfectly, almost every sales call will have one thing: objections. And this is where the last piece of DSH framework comes in: handling the objections. Before you can make a sale, you'll have to answer a lot of questions from your prospect. This is the third part of the sales call. The kinds of objections you'll get will be determined by what you're selling. The prospect could tell you that they don't have the budget for it, or it's too expensive. They already use an alternative or a competitor. They tried it in the past and it failed. There's almost no limits to what they'll say. And I even made a full video about objection handling that you can find in the description. But most of the time, objection handling is pretty simple. All you need to do is understand the prospect and circle back to one of few things: their desires, pain points, or guarantees. If the objection has anything to do with the money, you can always circle back to the guarantee you mentioned in the first cold message. Remind them about the refund policy or the performance package. You can even suggest splitting the payment, but only do that if that's already an option in your business. If you're throwing discounts and other stuff around, you'll just seem desperate. Remember, you're not there to take their money as fast as you can. You're there to help them. Handle each and every of their objections. Make sure they trust you and feel safe working with you. If that's done, you can send the contract. That's tip number 1 that I promised at the start. Always have a contract ready. You don't want to waste your prospect's time. Make sure you can send a contract once they agree and are ready to review it. Use apps like DocuSign or others to do this in less than 5 minutes online. Second, don't stress. This goes without saying, but there's no need to feel like you're sitting on nails. You're talking to a human and there's nothing to worry about. Relax. Third, record your sales call. If you feel comfortable, you should always record your sales call. And it's not to post them on Facebook. Recording a sales call is a great way to improve because you can review it later, learn from the mistakes to make sure you adapt and can act better in the future sales calls. If you record every time you have a sales call, you'll greatly increase your close rate because you'll just learn every time. If these things don't help, I suggest checking this video for psychology tricks that will help you sell anything.